Hi YouTube, welcome to part 2 of this video series on how to deal with bailiffs and what you can do to protect yourself. If you haven't watched my previous video, I went over the different types of enforcement agents that are active in England. In this video I'm going to go over the time limits bailiffs have to work to. Most people are unaware that enforcement agents, commonly referred to as bailiffs, have a strict time limit when collecting civil debt. This also applies to High Court enforcement officers too. Before I go any further, it's important you understand this only applies if the debtor has not entered into a repayment arrangement with the enforcement agent or has breached any part of the terms of such an arrangement. Before a bailiff can take any action, they must provide the debtor with a notice of enforcement that gives 7 days clear notice as set out within Part 2 of the Taking Control of Goods Regulation 2013. It is very important that you don't throw away the notice of enforcement. I have seen a lot of videos on here with people refusing to take paperwork from bailiffs. You need to keep this document as it could assist you in the future. You don't need to take it from the hand of the bailiff, but they will post it as they are required to do so. Let me explain. Regulation 9(1) Taking Control of Goods Regulation 2013. Subject to paragraphs 2 and 3. The enforcement agent may not take control of goods of the debtor after the expiry period of 12 months beginning with the date of notice of enforcement. So, check the date that the notice of enforcement was issued. If it's past 12 months, then the debt is no longer enforceable. If the bailiff is trying to enforce a debt for parking tickets, PCN, the warrant cannot be renewed after 12 months from the original issue date. This is because the debt dies as of Part 75.7.10 of the Civil Procedure Rules. So, the bailiff or local authority cannot apply to the court for a time extension as the debt dies. That's the end of the matter. Now please be mindful that this does not apply to all debts, such as council tax. The existing liability order never goes out of date, but the debt it carries will expire after 6 years under Section 9 of the Limitations Act 1980. Even if the liability order has been to secure the debt, that only carries an enforcement power, 12 months, but the sum continues to be nullified under Section 9 of the Act. That is why there is no need to have an end date on a liability order. So, once the notice of enforcement expires at 12 months, the existing bailiff or HCEO has no powers to enforce the debt, but the local authority still has an active liability order against you. Please note that under Regulation 9, Paragraph 3, Taking Control of Goods Regulation 2013, the enforcement agent or local authority could make an application to the court for an extension. The court may order that the period in paragraph 1, 12 months, be extended a further 12 months. The court can only grant this extension on one occasion only. For this to happen, the court must be satisfied that the applicant has reasonable grounds for not taking control of goods that belong to the debtor within the period referred to under paragraph 1. Important: if you deliberately or refuse to pay your council tax and are taken to court and found guilty, you could find yourself liable for criminal penalties. High Court writs. The service life of High Court writs are 6 years from the date of the original judgment. After that, the debt and the enforcement power ceases to have effect. As per Section 83.2(2)(a) of the Civil Procedure Rules. So, I hope that this has helped you to understand that enforcement agents and High Court enforcement officers only have a power to take control of goods or collect monies for civil debt for up to 12 months from the date the notice of enforcement was issued.